Definitely a philanthropic element. I think in general, people want to do the right thing and they want to do what's good. Well, I think first of all, I should say that I did not expect to be involved in all these things. So the five things that I thought about at the time in college, quite a long time ago, 25 years ago, making life multiplanetary, accelerating the transition to sustainable energy, the internet, broadly speaking, and then genetics and AI. I think I didn't expect to be involved in all of those things. I actually, at the time in college, I sort of thought helping with electrification of cars was how I would start out, and that's actually what I worked on as an intern, was advanced ultracapacitors to see if they would be a breakthrough relative to batteries for energy storage in cars. And then when I came out to go to Stanford, that's what I was going to be doing my grad studies on, was working on advanced energy storage technologies for electric cars. And then I put that on hold to start an internet company in '95, because there does seem to be like a time for particular technologies when they're at a steep point in the inflection curve, and I didn't want to do a PhD at Stanford and watch it all happen, and I wasn't entirely certain that the technology I'd be working on would actually succeed. Like you can get a doctorate on many things that ultimately do not have a practical bearing on the world. And I wanted to I really was just trying to be useful. That's the optimization. It's like what can I do that would actually be useful?
Elon Musk is one of the greatest inventors and businessmen of our time. He found a problem in humanity that needed to be solved: sustainability. So he created Tesla and electric cars that use energy more efficiently. At first, he wasn't sure that Tesla or his other company, SpaceX, were going to be successful, but he never gave up hope. He warns others that starting a company is exciting at first, but then becomes very painful after a few years. He realized pretty quickly that success was not going to happen overnight. Take SpaceX, for example. Rockets require success. You cannot safely launch a rocket if you're not super sure that it's going to be successful. Luckily for him, SpaceX was successful on its fourth launch. Starting a company takes extreme grit and determination, and a high level of difficulty. Elon Musk was able to stay motivated because he was sure that he was doing right by his company and by the customer. If we take a page out of Elon's book, we can see that motivation is coupled with determination.
I think there's definitely a philanthropic element, and I think in general, people want to do the right thing and they want to do what's good. The issue we have right now is that the rules fundamentally favor the bad outcome. So when you're fighting for the good outcome and it's an uphill battle, it's just slower. So with respect to climate change, it's just critical that the government is the setter of rules. The government decides what rules companies will play by, and if we currently have a system which massively incents bad behavior. So even if most people don't do the bad behavior, some people will still do the bad behavior. Yeah, I mean, money and prices are basically just an information mechanism. They're just basically, they tell you. I mean, money's mostly an information mechanism for labor allocation, and for and sort of tells companies what to do. So it's just critical. This is why it's so critical that action be taken at a government level, because the government is the one, they're setting the rules of the game, and it's just crazy to have the rules of the game favor a bad outcome. We got to try to create an electric car company, but it wasn't as though in creating these companies that we thought that we would be successful. I thought that the most likely outcome was failure, but it was still worth doing, even though the odds of success were low. In fact, even for SpaceX, originally what I started doing was not creating a rocket company, but actually was going to do a small mission to Mars, which was just a philanthropic mission where you would send a small greenhouse with seeds and dehydrated gel, and upon landing, hydrate the gel, and you'd have this cool picture of green plants on a red background. And the public tends to respond to precedents and superlatives. So this would be the first life on Mars, the furthest that life's ever traveled, and you'd have this great money shot of green plants on a red background. So yeah, I thought that would get people's attention. So, but the expectation for that was no return. So I thought we wouldn't get any, we'd just spend the money on that, and it wouldn't happen. There are many that I think it's there's like some entropic basis for this. Like there are many more ways to fail than to succeed. So you have to explore. I mean, particularly like for a rocket, there's like 1,000 ways the thing can fail, and like one way it can work. So you could have a lot of rocket failures to explore all the ways in which it could fail. So, but I do think that one great thing about Silicon Valley is that failure is not a big stigma. So it's like if you try hard and it doesn't work out, that's okay. Like you can learn from that and do another company, and it's not a big deal. And I think that's really one of the great things about Silicon Valley. I mean, I think it's like quite painful and difficult, and it feels terrible. But yeah, I mean, the company is sort of looking to me to rally them, and so I do. But I honestly feel super bad.
Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.